20 minutes just to read all this.
It's humorous.
It is.
Call meeting order. Well, please rise.
Based on your final engineering approval.
I ask you to join me in a moment of reflection on the business that's before us this evening. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Clerk, please take the roll.
Alderman Basso.
Here.
Alderman Bynum.
Here.
Alderman Clifford. Alderman Key.
Here.
Alderman Kromarski.
Here.
Alderman Lewandowski. Alderman McGovern.
Here.
Alderman McGrogan.
Here.
Mayor, City Clerk, Treasurer, and Attorney.
All right. Under consent calendar, I've got two items. The approval of City Council meeting minutes from February 18th, 2020, along with the approval of payroll and voucher list for the period ending February 28th, 2020. Entertain a motion to approve the consent calendar.
So moved.
Moved by
Second.
Alderman Kromarski, second by Alderman McGovern. Discussion. Roll call.
Alderman Basso.
Aye.
Alderman McGovern.
Yes.
Alderman Key.
Yes.
Alderman Violet.
Yes.
Alderman Clifford.
Aye.
Alderman McGrogan.
Yes.
Alderman Kromarski.
Yes.
Motion carries.
All right, tonight we have the opening for the bids for the MFT for the 2020 program. Representative of Morris Engineering's here to go over and ask Mr. Demicky to relinquish his seat for a second there.
First bids from Brothers Paving.
Thank you.
The proposal for the entire improvement is $471,963.70. And the bid bond is included and insurance is included.
Next is M&J.
Thank you. The total amount is $481,758.68. And the bid bond is in and the insurance is in.
Gallagher is next.
Entire improvement cost of the entire, $455,110.38. And the bid bond is in and insurance is in.
All right, last is Lindahl Brothers.
Thank you. $429,994.38. And bid bond and insurance is included.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, ma'am.
move to refer to the Roads and Construction Committee for review and discussion.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Okay. Have it awarded when it gets done there. All right. City officials, I've got a couple things tonight. First, I'd like to address the coronavirus incident kind of briefly. Sunday evening, I had a conference call with 60 to 70 mayors in the metro area through the Metropolitan Mayor's Caucus, along with Lori Lightfoot and a number of the department heads from the city of Chicago. And we walked through some of the things that were going on in the city and what they're doing and precautions they're taking. And and then also later on this evening, I got a website from the Cook County's precautionary virus precautions, and I will be putting that on our website for anyone who has any questions. This morning I talked to Dr. Terry Moisen, who's the president of Palos Hospital, and he assured me that Palos Hospital has his precautions in place and procedures in place, and has invited me tomorrow to partake in their management staffing as far as what they're going to be doing for the coronavirus. So tomorrow morning at 9:30, I'll be meeting with them, and then report back, well, any information that's pertinent to that I'll be placing on our website to let the residents know. And the main thing is really just best practices, you know, as far as washing your hands and, you know, using Purex or one of the antiseptic cleaners. Quite frankly, you know, a lot of the stuff is separating the reality from, you know, a lot of the hype. And you know, as far as what's actually happening in Chicago, you know, there's not been a lot of cases that have been brought to light, and hopefully that will be the case. But precaution is always something that, you know, err on the side of caution. So, and Terry was pretty prominent about that, as far as you know, we don't think this is going to be an outbreak in our area. But, you know, let's be ready for it. So as things come about, we will be passing that information on to the residents to keep you informed. Yeah. And secondly, just like to address where we stand with the Dominic situation. As we've done in the past, we will handle it as we always have, in a professional manner. And I've got a meeting set up through a number of letters, but the meeting itself, I'll be meeting with the president of Jewel and the head of their real estate department in the next 2 weeks to discuss what their plans are. Somewhat encouraging that the fact that over the last 4 or 5 months, well, probably more or less 3 months, I guess, they have been kind of backing down on holding out on their lease renewals. So we'll see where they go with that. But you know, we've been talking. We said we're going to talk with Jewel. We have been talking to local realtors, as he always has. We've had a conversation with a grocer who may have some interest in the site if that becomes open, along with alternative uses. So that's kind of where we are now, and going forward, I'll keep everybody informed as that progresses. And hopefully within the next, after my meeting with Jewel, I'll have some concrete so at least some concrete direction on what we can do and what we cannot do. So that being said, also I'd like to have someone make a motion to approve my various appointments to committees, and I'll give you a list of those and maybe do them all in one full swope instead of having to do individuals. On the Planning and Zoning Committee for 5-year terms expiring on February 1st of 2025, reappointment of Jeff Berry, William DeLeo, and a new appointment of Timothy Cronin. On the Zoning Board of Appeals on a 5-year term expiring on February 1st, 2025, reappointment of Jim Hughes. On the Police and Fire Commission, a 3-year term expiring April 30th, 2023, Judge John Duty. The Police Pension Board, a 2-year term expiring February 1st, 2022, George Jazinski. And finally, on the Public Arts Commission, on a 3-year term expiring February 1st, 2023, Vanessa Senta. So with that, I'll entertain a
I
motion.
move that we accept the motion.
Moved by Alderman Violet, seconded by Alderman Key. Discussion, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. All right. City Clerk?
No report.
City Treasurer?
Thank you, no report.
City Attorney?
Thank you, no report.
Any communication tonight? All right. Standing committees, Alderman McGrogan?
Mr. Mayor, on the Finance Committee, we have nothing to report.
All right. Public Safety, Alderman McGovern.
No report tonight, Mr. Mayor.
Alderman Basso?
I have no report tonight, Mayor.
All right. Well, it looks like Planning and Zoning's got everything tonight. Alderman Clifford?
report.
All right.
Okay. Docket 2020-1, petition filed by Brian and Cindy Dempsey, motion to allow for a covered porch and walkway to extend 6 feet and require 30-foot yard for residential property located at 11943 South 71st Avenue.
Second.
Moved by Alderman Clifford, second by Alderman Key. Discussion? Roll call?
Alderman Key.
Yes.
Alderman Violet.
Yes.
Alderman Basso.
Aye.
Alderman McGovern.
Aye.
Alderman Clifford.
Aye.
Alderman McGrogan.
Yes.
Alderman Kromarski.
Yes,
Docket 2020-2, a petition filed by Patrick and Sarah Cummings, motion to allow for a new covered porch to extend 2.2 feet and require 30-foot front yard setback at a residential property located at 12201 South 71st Avenue.
Second.
Moved by Alderman Clifford, second by Alderman Key.
It's for a home remodeling, extensive remodeling they're doing, putting a second floor addition.
All right.
This is for a new formal entryway to the front door.
Any questions? Roll call?
Alderman Clifford.
Aye.
Alderman McGrogan.
Yes.
Alderman Kromarski.
yes,
Alderman McGovern.
Yes.
Alderman Basso.
Yes.
Alderman Key.
Yes.
Alderman Violet.
Yes.
Motion 2020-03, petition filed by Jeffrey Williams on behalf of Joseph Canella, Managing Partner of Payless Sites Properties LLC. Motion to allow a martial arts training school to operate as a B1 special use within the B district located at 6501-6503 West 127th Street with the following amendment, that all all payments and fees required by meetings and any indentureship or financial responsibility to the city be paid before occupancy or business license issued.
Okay. Moved by Alderman Clifford. Is there a
Second.
second? Second by Alderman McGovern. Discussion? Roll call?
Alderman McGovern.
Yes.
Alderman Key.
Yes.
Alderman Basso.
Aye.
Alderman Violet.
Yes.
Alderman Clifford.
Aye.
Alderman McGrogan.
Yes.
Alderman Kromarski.
Yes.
Okay, docket 2020-04, a petition filed by Alfonso and Kristen Restivo. Motion to allow for an 8-foot side yard or a 1.8 side yard relief on a 10-foot standard along the north property line adjacent to the addition to the principal residence, and a 21.8 rear yard or 3.4 yard relief of the 25-foot principal building adjacent to the addition of the principal residence located at 124-23 71st Court. In other words, in the backyard, which is 25 feet, they're asking for a 3-foot 4-inch variance. And on the side yard, they're asking for a 1.8-foot side yard variance,
Second?
which would leave them with 8.4 and 21.8 in the rear.
Okay, moved by Alderman Clifford, second by Alderman Key. Discussion? Roll call?
Alderman Kromarski.
Yes.
Alderman McGrogan.
Yes.
Alderman Clifford.
Aye.
Alderman Violet.
Yes.
Alderman Key.
Yes.
Alderman McGovern.
Yes.
Alderman Basso.
Aye.
Docket 2020-05, petition filed by Barbara and Clark Gabrello. Motion to allow 3.8 side yard or a 6-foot 4-inch relief of a 10-foot standard along the west property line adjacent to the new detached garage, and a 5-foot 11 rear yard or 4 feet 1 inch relief of the 10-foot standard for a detached garage adjacent to a new detached garage located at 124-23 71st Court.
Moved by Alderman Clifford.
Second.
Second by Alderman Key. Discussion?
Discussion. I think there's an error there. It's
We just,
an
this is-
address error.
yeah, they got something wrong here because this is the same one we just did.
Okay.
What's the
What's the address then?
It should be 6819 West Hundred.
Is there a lady here from on
Yes,
West
she-
127th Street? That's you. Would you please sort of just tell us your name and address and what you were asking for, so we all know?
My name's Barbara Gabriello, and we are asking for, I guess, just the garage is now down, so we're just asking for the new garage to be put back in the same position, not the 10-foot variance that is, apparently we weren't informed of from the builder.
And this is to replace
Just,
it,
yeah, we're replacing a.
so everyone knows and I understand it.
Yes.
Get the
and, yeah.
corrected address.
What's the
Corrected
address?
I'm sorry?
Could you,
What's the
could you
address?
give us our
68
correct address?
Yeah, 6819.
What?
6819 West 127th Street.
Okay. And that's to replace where your previous garage was?
Yes,
And the reason you need the variance is that when you took down the other one, you weren't aware that
right.
it was out of code. And now this is to asking to put it back where it originally was built when the house was.
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
Is there a second on that?
Now,
Well,
because of this address here, was it 3 feet 8 on the side and
5 point something on the back.
5.11.
4.1 on the other side?
I think it's 5.11
It's a
on the
5.11.
back. Yeah.
Well, that's the
Oh,
other
right
half of
here.
it. That's the other half of
Well, that'll leave a 511
just-
rear
just the
yard.
address was wrong,
Okay,
that's all.
okay, we got it.
it. Okay.
And you're Gabriella, right?
Yes, Barbara Gabriello.
Okay, but so petition filed by Barbara and Clark Gabriello of 6819 West 127th Street to allow for a 3-foot 8-inch side yard or 6.4 relief to a 10-foot standard along the west property line to a new garage, detached garage, and a 5'11" rear yard, or a 4-foot 1-inch relief of a 10-foot standard on the detached garage adjacent to the new garage located at 6819 West 127.
Yes.
So all of the information in item 12 is correct,
Just
except the address?
address.
Except the address.
Okay, and we'll change.
I just wanted to reread it with the
Right.
correct address.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay,
Any questions?
Okay.
that's it.
Roll call?
Alderman McGovern.
Yes.
Alderman Basso.
Aye.
Alderman Key. Alderman Violet.
Yes.
Alderman Clifford.
Aye.
Alderman McGrogan.
Yes.
Alderman Kromarski.
Yes.
Okay, what else we got? Docket 2019-07, revised petition by Santos Gonzalez and Anna Moore, motion to allow a pool to extend 3 feet beyond the building line and a fence to extend 10 feet beyond the building line of a principal resident located at 7400 Kiowa Lane. The fence shall align with the neighbor's fence immediately north on Comanche Drive and should be learned perpendicular to the northwest corner of the house, and the fence and post putting shall not compromise underground utilities. No excavated soil should be placed on the easement, nor shall the grading be changed within the easement. Finally, the pool nor the fence shall extend into the 20-foot front yard along the 2 block of Comanche Drive. Also, if not upon approval, it was asked that it be based on final engineering review.
Okay.
They would have the last say in the matter.
Second.
Moved by Alderman Clifford, second by Alderman Key.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, ma'am.
I would like to know the possibility of having that drainage pipe televised, so we're aware of the integrity of that pipe. Because my understanding is the fence and the pool will come within close proximity of this 80-inch pipe.
That could be part of the engineering.
Okay, that's fine.
And I was asked by engineering about putting that amendment in, that it's based on their final engineering.
That's fine.
Because being the structure of that pipe and what it handles there for the main drain industry's knowledge subdivision, they have some concerns, and they'd like to review it before
Right.
anything is done.
Review, the television can be part of that, so, okay.
So that's one of the amendments.
Right, okay.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, ma'am.
on the discussion, this is a house in Ishnell. It's on an unusual lot. There are not many corners like this where there's like really just 2 houses on Comanche, one house, and they both have unusual addresses. They face in different directions. One faces this way, but it's got the address on this side. And the house next door to the people to the north, which really faces Ishnala Drive. I know the house well because I've lived in Ishnala. And that house has a fence that, in their backyard, which is, this has gone through the zoning committees and it passed and everything. But there's been discussion as to, because of the way the lots are set up and the way the addresses came out, really, what's the backyard, what's the front yard? And even, I think the city attorney's been involved in it. But they have a white, like, vinyl fence next door, which comes out, this, out towards this way. Their current fence is back here, which is a wrought iron fence. So what they basically are gonna just do is bring this fence out. Originally, they had other plans. So now they're gonna bring the fence out this way to tie in to the neighbor's fence.
Right.
And really, I mean, there's been discussion, are we really putting a fence in the front yard? But the way the house sits, there's not many corners like this in the whole city. And so we've had a lot of discussion on it. And, I really think too, since we put all sorts of conditions and restrictions on this to make sure that it is done properly, that it's something that hopefully the other aldermen would support.
Okay.
I think, I've been by it a number of times. Oh, and they also supplied letters from the neighbors, none of which had any objections.
Right,
So-
I saw that.
It's been an issue, and there was misinformation to the ZBA. And I went to our Public Works Department and asked for clarity when I found out that there was an easement in there, and get his view being he's a qualified engineer on the matter. And the letter that came back was, and I'd just like to read it
Sure.
to you, which was submitted to the ZBA, and it said, I would like to provide a quick summary of what occurred during my involvement with 7400 Kiowa fence and pool setback. 1, On August 29th, you asked if I could review a variance submittal that was submitted to Ken Bussey to ensure that there was no issue which may cause problems for the city if the variance were granted. 2, upon quick review, I noted that the variance for the swimming pool setback encroached on a public utility and a drainage easement which is designated to protect the utilities and drainage patterns for that subdivision. 3, I made a recommendation to you not to allow this variance since it will impact the easement and the utilities located there upon that easement. 4, upon committee decision to not allow the variance, I met with the petitioners and Ken Buss on 8/29 to explain why protecting the easement is important. 5, on 8/30/2019, I sent you an email with an exhibit depicting the 84-inch storm sewer located in the easement, among other utilities, noting that the construction of a pool may compromise the structural integrity of the sewer. On 10/17/19, I received an updated plan with a swimming pool outside the public utility and drainage easement. I reviewed the plan and noted that no spoil should be placed on the easements, nor shall grading be changed within the easements. And that's why the request I added, just so you had some history, why I added the caveat of what the engineer said, that based on their final approval, that it wouldn't provide a detriment to the city or liability to the city if something to that pool was to degradate that pipe.
Okay, good.
So that's where it all ties in.
That's what I figured.
So that's it.
I'm not on the committee, and because I know that this issue has been a back and forth type thing, and as a matter of fact, the final committee vote, according to the minutes, was 2-2. I thought it was necessary to go and look at the property. And I drove over there last week, and as I was sitting out in front looking, Miss Moore noticed me, and she was apparently was going somewhere. She got in her car, but she sees this strange man, staring at her house, and so she didn't pull out. So I got out and introduced myself, and gave her my business card, and I told her I just kind of want to familiarize myself with the issue and kind of look around. And she was good enough to invite me into her yard, and I must agree with Alderman McGrogan that it's a very unusual lot. There's not a whole lot of space in the backyard that's not easement, because there's a storm drainage pipe where they cut the grass, but you can't put anything there, and so there really isn't much of a yard left. And the builder, there's two big front yards, which happens often with corner lots. You have two big front yards, but no backyard. And I was under the impression, with all the talk that we've had about this pool, I went there with the impression that they were looking to put an in-ground pool in. And Ms. Moore explained to me that what they were actually looking for is an above-ground pool. And the spoils that have been kind of in contention are really only going to be a 4-inch, kind of a 4-inch deal, where they're going to take out the grass and the soil down 4 inches and then put in a base of stone and sand or whatever they put in for those pools. And the new fence would kind of line up with the neighbor's fence, so it would be a straight line. It looked to me like
It's almost better.
it would, well, it would make the yard useful, which I don't know that it is now. And I feel that where they want to put the pool and the way they want to do it will be aesthetically acceptable. And there's really, and it'll provide them with the enjoyment of their yard. Because it's not an in-ground pool and it's an above-ground pool, if for some reason in the future there's some sort of an issue, an above-ground pool is not as permanent as an in-ground pool is. And it looked to me like like where the pool is going to sit is far enough from the easement, the drainage easement, that wouldn't be an issue. So I guess the bottom line is, although it doesn't happen all the time, on this issue, I'm in agreement with Alderman McGrogan.
In the fact that Adam has signed off on it, I think is a
Well,
positive.
and just so the engineering, you know on it, that one of their things is why they want a final review. If for some reason they had to get in there with equipment, the pool would probably have to be gone, and that wouldn't be a city responsibility. I wanted to ask the attorney, how would that be handled as a caveat to the agreement, if that were to occur?
Well, if it's on the easement.
No,
and
if it's not, and
If
they
it's
have,
not on the easement, then it shouldn't have any relevance,
okay.
because
I can answer.
you can't go outside the easement.
I can answer if there's a problem, my husband can take the pool down.
But I mean, the city could only go in there if the pool is in the easement area. If it's not in the easement area, then.
Okay, I just asked, that was, to ask that question, that's fine. And it was approved by the ZBA, by a vote of, I think it was 5-1, so take 6 affirmative votes to override their decision.
Okay. All right.
With that, I'll call the question.
All right, roll call?
Alderman Basso.
No.
Alderman McGovern.
No.
Alderman Key.
Yes.
Alderman Violet.
Yes,
Alderman Clifford.
No,
Alderman McGrogan.
Yes.
Alderman Kromarski.
No.
motion passes. Okay, it goes to,
No,
no, there's not 6 votes, so it
Motion's
passes.
not agreed to.
Okay, that's the end of my report.
it failed.
Failed.
No, it needs 6 negative votes. You didn't get 6 negative votes.
No,
Okay.
no, you have, that's only if the zoning board was to vote against it.
Right.
And
It failed.
they approved it, so you guys would have to vote a majority to approve it.
Right.
Oh, to override on a negative
It failed.
position?
Right.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean,
But it failed anyway because it didn't get the 5 required votes to approve it.
right. Because we had alderman, one alderman's not here, so it lost 4-3 if I,
It still goes to council.
we're in the council.
This is a
I mean, that was only to draft the ordinance, it still has to be adopted. Yeah,
That's it, draft the ordinance.
this isn't, because this came up to council last time for drafting, we sent it back to the CBA. So now this is to draft the ordinance for that allowance, correct?
Well, I don't know, the motion was to approve it, so I don't know if you guys were approving the ordinance or if you're approving the drafting of the ordinance.
We're
but
approving the ordinance.
Yeah, this was a
These
final
are all,
vote.
We brought it
the way the
back.
agenda's
All right.
drafted, it says it's for
Went through
approval.
committee.
I mean, I think there's a lot of confusion still, obviously. We don't know if this is gonna be the real vote or the fake vote.
No, you know what the
But-
question
just let me
was,
finish.
since it
Just-
came
yeah.
back, let me just finish, so I get it straight out. Since it came, we did send it back to the ZBA, kind of place there for reconsideration, that was fine, because it didn't get voted on that night in the council, so it came back to the city council for, it was to be drafted. We didn't hear it, we sent it back to the ZBA for reconsideration, now it came back to here.
Oh,
It went to planning, zoning, then came back to here, so we haven't really drafted the ordinance yet, so this would technically be that we're drafting it, correct? And then next month, or next meeting would be to
Well,
adopt.
Well, we went through
I can-
committee,
I
we
can
went
only
through
tell you
committee
what-
last week. and
The way,
now-
the
now
way
it's
the
up here.
agenda is written on all of these dockets is that you guys are approving it.
Yeah.
It's not authorizing
Well, see, I
draft
don't,
anything.
that's the way I read it, was that we're voting to approve.
Yeah.
And I think the other confusion, as Alderman Violet pointed out, is the whole thing about all the engineering and everything, which is one of the reasons I was voting in favor of it, besides the fact that I know the house extremely well. And is that the pool, I think everyone thought was gonna be an in-ground pool. It's not. They're gonna go down and just like, go down 4 inches, whatever that is, and just kind of like put the pool in. So there, I mean, there really shouldn't be much going on. I mean, I see some of the utility companies, the house I'm in right now, and Palos Heights, there's flags all over my yard, because they're gonna do some, like, minor, like, excavating, so Julie's up there. And, like, I think, like, with all the conditions that were added after this went through committee, this actually, and that's another question I have, is that and Alderman Clifford rightfully so, had more information after the meeting and added all of that in after we voted on a different, the 2-2 vote had different wording than this one. And so, you know, to me, I mean, if Jack thought that this was gonna be just a preliminary meeting,
I thought,
I don't know what we could do to
you
send
know,
it
it
back.
went, like I say, it went back on recommendation with the added thing about the letter and the concerns,
Right.
because the ZBA didn't have it. That's fine. That night, in fairness to them, we sent it back. They came back and voted in their favor. Fine. So the normal procedure would be, since we didn't draft it, we didn't agree, we just sent it back, would be first to draft, then to adopt.
Okay,
on the next
okay,
meeting.
so let's withdraw that. Do you want to make this a motion to draft the
I want
ordinance?
to make a motion to draft. That way Alderman Nadusky could be in. Like he has concern that the other Alderman wasn't here, that would give him an opportunity to be here too.
Yeah, so we're gonna basically restate the motion to say it's
Well, I'm gonna
motion to draft the
Motion to
ordinance.
draft it.
Okay.
Yeah, I just, docket 2019-07, moved to draft the petition by Santos Gonzalez and Anna Moore to allow for a pool to extend 3 feet beyond the building line and a fence to extend 10 feet beyond the building line for the principal residence located at 7400 Kiowa Lane. The fence will align with the neighbor's fence immediately along the North Comanche Drive, return perpendicular to the northwest corner of the house. The fence posts and footings shall not compromise the underground utilities. No excavation or soil should be placed on the easement, nor shall the grading be changed within the easement. Finally, the pool nor the fence shall extend into the 20-foot front yard along the 2-block Comanche Drive with final approval of city engineering.
Okay. So this is a motion to draft the ordinance.
Draft the
Is
ordinance.
there a second?
Second.
Second by Alderman McGrogan.
I'm not sure I understand what we're doing. I mean, I
No,
thought
you-
I thought this was the vote.
I thought this was the vote too.
He's asking now that it be a motion just to draft the ordinance.
Because
But
because
this
of
went,
one-
this had already gone,
It's gone to the zoning
Zoning
board
board
twice. And
it's been through
Yes.
committee, twice, and now and now we're up here.
yeah,
Finally, we got it up here.
Well, the only
Unless
reason,
someone changes their vote, it's
Well,
not gonna go
yeah.
anywhere different. I'm a little confused though, because in committee, it was slightly different language. And Chairman, you voted no, but then you added the caveat of, on the motion to, have the engineering cleared by, you know, maybe Morris Engineering or our own
No.
Public Works, director who's an engineer.
was it-
So, given that caveat, I assumed that you were gonna change your vote then, because you're the one that added the caveat, but you didn't change your vote.
no, I voted no at then, it was 2-2. But the day it came up, I had talked, the information didn't go to the ZBA property, they didn't know about this big pipe. So in fairness to that, we sent it back. I didn't
Correct.
even get the draft to say the draft.
But now we all know about it.
Right, and it went back and came back here.
well, in my packet, there are two designs. One, the original one, where the pool seemed to be encroaching on the easement, you know, where the pipe is. And then the new design, which I thought we were voting on today, which is completely off of that easement.
I don't think there's any distinction. I think we're really muddling the waters here by, you know, 5 other items came through, and we motioned with a motion.
Well, see,
And that's to
I understand.
To make an ordinance that we're gonna vote on in 2
Yeah.
weeks.
You know
Because
what?
no one has asked to waive the rules. So it's coming back in 2 weeks to vote on it again.
right, because I didn't write,
So this
or
is
the
all
mayor-
semantics, because it's exactly the same way.
Normally, everything in the past, in a situation when it first comes up for council vote, goes to planning, zoning, ZBA. Once it gets past planning, zone, comes the first council motion. The first motion on this would be move to authorize the city attorney to draft an ordinance permitting blah, blah, blah. This has been worded all differently here. For what reason, I don't know.
But unless you're gonna change your vote, it doesn't matter if you call it a motion, or a resolution, or a draft, or anything. Right now, it's 4 no and 3 yes. So unless you're gonna change your vote, which I mean, I wish you would, because
So do I.
this couple, not only do they have a beautiful home, but they've done everything that they've been asked of them. Because they had, the pool was in the easement, they moved it. We asked them to change the shape of it, they changed it. It's an above-ground pool instead of digging and maybe getting dangerously close to the easement. So and the plan is beautifully done, they have a beautiful home. And so that's why I'm voting yes for this. But unless someone changes their vote, it's not even gonna go anywhere anyway.
Well, I have a more of a parliamentary question, is that, as Alderman Key points out, when we originally voted on this last week, or whatever Tuesday it was, that it was worded differently, and that's what the 2-2 vote came. So now we're really voting, it really hasn't gone through with this wording through the Planning and Zoning Committee, which entails 4 of the aldermen that are sitting here. And so, and I don't know the answer to this, is there a leg to stand on to say, why don't we send it back
You can defer it to the next council
to
meeting.
defer it, back to planning and zoning?
No, to
Your
next
committee.
council meeting.
Well, I was thinking we go back to your committee so we can make sure that there's enough bells and whistles on this that satisfy not only the 3 aldermen that voted yes, but the 5 aldermen that would still have to vote, the 4 that voted no, plus the 1 alderman that's not here. And that way, we come back, because it appears that, it was a 2-2 vote previously, but it was a different discussion. We didn't have all these different facts and stuff in front of us. And I'm not sure that, even when we voted to that, as Alderman Violet pointed out, that everyone thought, including myself, that it was an in-ground pool, not an above-ground pool, which raised the whole point of the contention was all this excavating. As you can even see, we're saying that they can't pour the dirt back onto the easement, which would, in my opinion, a logical conclusion was you're thinking that you're gonna have some kind of bulldozer in there pushing stuff around, and you don't wanna mess up the easement. Well, they're gonna come down 4 inches. I could almost handle this. And so, to me, I'd almost like to go back and have the Planning and Zoning Committee reevaluate this. And I don't know, this is the parliamentary question, I don't know if we can do that after we just voted on
Defer
this.
it to council meeting.
Well, I thought the installer pretty much assured them that he would cart away the little bit of spoils that there would be. I mean, you're
Right,
talking 4 inches.
Well, the only way to do it now, you have to do a motion to reconsider, to refer it back to committee.
Okay, I'll make that motion to reconsider, defer back to committee.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay.
So what we're gonna do is go back to refer this basically back to next council meeting, correct?
Planning and zoning committee.
Back to planning and zoning?
Zoning.
All right, then, I'm gonna have to call Mr. Butsy then and ask him to rewrite this how we got it the first time, because there was a mistake at the first one up here with the address, there was a mistake on this here. So, until we get the exact thing what we're voting on there, so this will be a no vote then.
Okay,
And we'll just send it back there, then right back to council.
okay.
All right, that's the end of my
Thank you.
report.
All right. Alderman Key?
Yes.
No.
What's that? Oh, no report, I'm sorry.
Roads and Construction, Alderman Komarski.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Hopefully, winter is over, and I don't want to jinx it, but that's the end of my report. Thank you.
It's snowing now.
License permits and franchises, Alderman Newandowski's not here, I don't believe he's got anything. Water and sewer?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I move to approve an engineering agreement with RJN Group to prepare bid documents to rehabilitate the sanitary manholes, including construction and inspection, in the amount of $35,990.
Second.
Moved by Alderman Violet, second by Alderman Clifford. Discussion, roll call.
Alderman, Alderman Key.
Yes.
Alderman Violet.
Yes.
Alderman Clifford.
Aye.
Alderman McGrogan.
Yes.
Alderman Kromarski.
Yes.
Alderman Basso.
Aye.
Alderman McGovern.
Yes,
And that's the end of my report, Mr.
Okay.
Mayor.
Business and Economic Development,
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, no report.
Alderman McGovern.
no report, Mr. Mayor.
Any old business? Citizens wishing to address the council tonight, anyone? Okay, if not, entertain a motion to adjourn.
No,
New
Mr.
business?
Mayor.
New
New
business.
business.
New business.
I got some too.
Okay.
The caveat on what you were saying about this coronavirus thing going around, there seems to be a lot of panic and about masks and personal protection and that. A lot of these stores, Menards and Home Depot now has got limits on it because people are buying up these masks and then they're throwing them on Amazon for a box of 10 that's normally $9 for 400 or $17 and $300 shipping. So be aware of that. Home Depot has put in place limit one box of 10 masks per person for sale on this because of the panic thing of it. Because when they do that, the masks disappear and medical people need it. And the best thing is with the washing your hands, using keep a jar of this in your pocket of pure 60% alcohol or better, or keep some of these pocket sanitized wipes to wrap things down, and that'll help you out just as much as the masks. The masks are basically for people that are already sick. So just so you know what's going on with that, there's a lot of panic, fear, and mongering about that.
Alderman McGowan?
Yeah, Mr. Mayor, hi. So over the holidays, especially attending different functions that were going on throughout the city, and occasionally they get an email from the Ward 4 residents that are asking, like, geez, what's going to happen with the way the city, what are you going to do in supporting or not supporting this graduated income tax? And I had a couple of questions. So today, actually, I was planning on bringing this up even before this, but I noticed in the Sun-Times there was a pretty good article, and I highly encourage people to read it because it kind of explains the fact that, like, the reason the state needs this is that there's a $2 billion pension shortage. So basically, they're going to, because they are keeping the, and you're probably more familiar with this because I'm going to go to the Southwest Mayors in a minute, that, you know, like, they need to do this in order to make the pensions. I believe we're about 80%, through our finance committee, we're about 80% funded on our pensions. But a lot of people that I've been running into feel that if this passes, because there's no limitation on the dollar, like right now, the state number, we're just under 5%, which was doubled just recently, to try to make eliminate some of the deficit, which it has, but it hasn't done enough because this article says there's still $2 billion. So the scary part about this, I mean, I think there's no question the state needs more money, but when you read the fine print, and I've also checked with some people attorneys that I do business with, they're like, there's no limit to what is going to be voted on. So that, I mean, the company I'm with, we have operations across the country. We see people leaving California and some of the other high-tax states in droves going into other areas, like the Californians are going to Arizona. We already are seeing a huge exodus. There's some kind of stat about people moving from Illinois to close by northwest Indiana. In fact, one of the towns like the St. John's or something has more permits than any suburb in the Chicago region, which is incredible. And so I'm just wondering, because the mayor's heavily involved in the Southwest Conference of Mayors, have the mayors had any discussion? Are they talking about maybe modifying or amending or limiting? Because it's like a blank check and I think everybody I talk to, I mean, it's not like I'm talking to a million people, but there's quite a few people that seem to be very concerned about it. And what worries me is that Payless Heights, as you can see by all the improvements and people doing work to their homes, we have a pretty good housing stock and pretty good incomes are in this town. And what's going to happen to our businesses if people don't have the money to spend at the businesses, because it's all going to the state to pay the pensions? And I don't know if people are paying any attention to this. And I just think that, is there any input that comes out of this?
Well, for one thing, Moody's came out today and said that it will have no impact on the pensions at all, this tax increase. because it's gonna be going to operations for the most part.
But no impact, meaning, they said if they don't get it passed.
It won't reduce it.
Won't reduce
It won't, it's not going to pensions. It's gonna go to operations. There's a lot more involved.
But they're gonna downgrade it,
Oh, yeah,
according to
because
the
of that.
article.
Right.
The state's bond rating, which is important.
Right.
Is gonna be downgraded.
Right.
And, and as a banker, you don't wanna have a
Right.
downgrade, because otherwise, we're going towards bankruptcy. And the way the state constitution's written, the state can't go bankrupt, or the first people who get paid are the people from the pension, which would mean that the money is not gonna be directed back to the cities who are gonna need the money, which is the group that we have up here, to vote on this. And, to keep these lights out.
It's not going to the cities for sure. I'll tell you.
Right, well, I know, because right, I mean, Mr. Bullen,
Well, and-
you're the mayor of another town.
An important point to keep, under Pritzker's proposed budget, if his graduated income tax does not pass, he's gonna cut the local government distributive fund that the villages get, your money back,
Right.
and keep it to cover his budget. So he's almost extorting your support for that. And if it doesn't pass, he's gonna keep part of the money that you're getting now. And of course, the state, under the income tax in 2011, when we were getting 10% of that income tax back, that was already cut back to 6%.
Right.
If this doesn't pass, he's gonna keep another 25% of that money, so you guys will be
Done before.
getting less back.
Doesn't sound like there's a good solution.
No, they're taking the money from
I
the
guess
municipalities.
all you can
to
do
cover
is,
the
if there's a
budget.
caveat, is to buyer beware. Read it
Well,
and
there
do a
is
lot of
another
research.
option. You just move.
And it's like the federal government, they can adjust those tax rates, and if the amendment passes, they can make it any amount they want.
It starts at 1, doesn't mean it's gonna stay at 1. It's a
Yeah.
constitutional amendment.
Right. It could be 12, like you said in
Except
California.
This is not just an ordinance or a
California,
state
where
statute,
they-
this is
they
a
pay
constitutional
12%.
amendment.
You could have that here.
So people are leaving now when it's under 5%, and we're talking about heading to 10%.
So,
In unusual fashion, Springfield, the way they remedy that is, Pritzker also wants to, if you leave the state, he's gonna tax your house to some absorbent amount, I mean,
And
it's like,
exit tax.
it's ridiculous. The state budget is balanced by borrowing money. That's the stupidest thing you could do. If we did, none of us would own homes if we did that.
right.
It's criminal what Springfield has done.
10 years, this will be a ghost town.
All right, now we all feel good about that.
Glad I brought it up.
Thanks, Mike.
Sorry about that.
Any other new business, old business?
Motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn?
Second.
All in favor? Opposed? Thank you.